I believe that AI will create jobs, destroy jobs, but mostly what it's going to do is just change a lot of jobs. And I personally feel that the focus needs to be on that last sort of set there. Which jobs are going to be changed? And so what we've been doing, our sort of the research we've been focused on, is trying to identify these jobs that are exposed to AI and hence as a result will change a lot as a result of AI. So here's a high-level overview of the methodology. We started with 10 different AI application areas. I've got 3 listed here, but there's sort of 7 more. So this would be things like language modeling, speech recognition, and then another 8. We link those to 52 different human abilities. And actually a lot of the research is on how we do that linking. I've got 4 here, just for example, oral comprehension, written comprehension, and then there's a whole bunch more. You can just imagine this list going down. Where did those come from? They come from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, ONET. And what the ONET does is it takes 800 occupations. So I've got 4 listed here: CEO, orthodontist, and then there's another 796 or so. What the ONET does is for each of those occupations, it describes how important, in a relative sense, these different human abilities are. Okay, so that's sort of, we sort of have this methodology that goes from AI application areas all the way to the occupation level. And then for each of these occupations, we come up with this occupational exposure score. Okay, so we did this back in 2018. And then ChatGPT happened a couple of years ago, and we realized that one of the benefits of our methodology is that we can isolate some of these AI application areas where there's really rapid advances. So language modeling is one, image generation is another. And so what we did is we sort of focused on those and sort of updated these AI occupational exposure scores for all 800 occupations. I'm going to show you just the top 20 of occupations that are exposed to language modeling. That's on the left. And image generation, that's on the right, just to give you a sense of things. Language modeling, so I know there's some teachers in the room, right? Even if we're former teachers. You'll notice here, like 16 or 17 of these is teachers, post-secondary, okay? These are all college professors, okay, are among the most exposed, okay? Again, what this means is that language modeling is gonna really change the work that teachers do. You might view that as a positive thing, you might view that as a negative. Image generation, there's sort of 2 categories here. Some are people that create images, like film and video editors, for example, graphic designers. But there's also people or sort of occupations where 3-dimensional space is important. So for example, air traffic controllers is here, mathematicians and chemical engineers. You might imagine sort of visualizing things in 3-dimensional space might be important for those occupations. Okay, this just gives you a sense of things. So what we've done is we've taken all 800 occupations and we've actually put them into 20 different buckets, okay, just for ease of seeing what's happening. Here we're looking at median salaries. This is salary along the x-axis, so this is higher salary occupations and lower salary occupations. And what we're interested in is, just from a descriptive point of view, the jobs that pay higher salaries, are they more or less exposed to generative AI? It turns out they're more exposed, okay? Lower salary jobs are less exposed. That's the y-axis. Now we've done this both for language modeling, that's the blue circles, as well as image generation, that's the sort of purple diamonds. And the pattern is basically the same. And that's something that will show up again and again and again across the next few slides that I show you. Whether it's image generation or language modeling, you could imagine like next year there might be some huge advance in some other different area in which AI is applied. Basically we're seeing the same patterns show up when it comes to the types of occupations that are exposed. So in other words, these are white-collar jobs, pay higher salary, require more education, require more creative abilities. What we did next is we matched the data to demographic data. It turns out that occupations that tend to employ more men are less exposed. And so you know what this means for women, right? Women are in jobs that are more exposed. This is for white. And again, here I want to emphasize this is data from the US labor market. So jobs that employ more white individuals are more exposed, black individuals less exposed, Asian individuals more exposed, and Hispanic individuals less exposed. Okay? So that's just sort of a brief summary of some of the research I've been doing in this area, just trying to understand which types of jobs are more exposed, right? Hence, will be more likely to change as a result of the technology, and also some of the demographic characteristics of these jobs.